I'm Tanya Hutchins from the IAM Communications Department, and I'm with Delta Flight Attendant Alex Jenkins, who's going to tell us a little bit about himself and the IAM Delta Flight Attendant campaign. Now, this is part of a series of interviews. So, Alex, thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much for having me on today, Tanya. So, I started my professional career in 2010 during the recession at Universal Orlando. And I started wondering about unions back then when I realized that Disney, 20 miles down the road, had better overtime pay, better holiday pay, and better benefits overall. And so by the time when I got to Delta in 2014, I wondered about unions, but they gave us so much anti-union rhetoric in training. They really ran home that family culture that they try so hard to sell for us, that I stayed away for about a year from all union conversations, and I quickly started to realize that we could do better. And so I spent almost a year researching unions and trying to decide if I did indeed want one.
So what did you find out in all this research?
So in my year of research, the selling point for me was the scope clause. And it's a smaller clause in most contracts, but basically what scope is it says how much of our flying can be outsourced. So the pilots have it in their contract that says any plane over a certain weight holding a certain number of passengers has to be flown by Delta pilots. And they also have it saying that with our partnerships, the same pilots number coming into the US are the same number that go out. And I really enjoy flying international routes, and so I want to have that scope clause in our contract so I can make sure that the same number of SkyTeam flight attendants flying into the US are the same number that fly out of the US.
So why is it so important to have a union this early in your career?
Well, there are over millions of reasons to have a union this early. However, a large reason for having it now is compounding interest. There's no better time to save for my retirement than yesterday. So if we can get a contract with a Me Too clause with the pilots and dispatchers at Delta who are unionized, that would allow us to have the company contribute 16% of our pay into our 401k. If we could get a contract with the IAM, they have an amazing pension plan that after 35 years gives you almost $5,000 a month in a pension that's completely separate from the company, and the company can never freeze or take away from it.
So what are some of the other benefits of being with the union?
There are so many other benefits, mainly having a black and white contract, having the ability to have a sick time policy that's not dependent on your manager's whim, and knowing that scheduling will follow the rules whether it's a rainy day in Atlanta or a sunny day in New York or a windy day in Los Angeles. We get
or Chicago.
Or Chicago. Ooh, that's better.
So has your workspace declined at all in the almost 4 years that you've been at Delta?
Yes, in short. In long, the A319, A320, 757 have all been remodified, as well as the 737-900, the A321, and the A350 have all been brought to the fleet, and all of them have had significantly reduced galley space compared to other aircraft of their size, in most cases half. That's over 350 of our over 890 aircraft that we have in our fleet that have had their galley space reduced while our service has only increased.
So it sounds like it's pretty hard to work in these galleys.
It can get very difficult. I myself was out on injury for over 2 months from an injury working one of the modified planes. And what I can say about that, not only did they modify our galleys, they took our overhead bins, which used to be a simple shut of a door, to now we're lifting all of the passengers' bags with minor mechanical assistance to close these aircraft bins just to fit a few more bags on the aircraft. It's really a stress on our bodies.
I can imagine. Are there any other benefits of being in the union that we haven't talked about so far?
Oh my goodness. Overtime pay like JetBlue. Holidays. More holidays, less blackout dates. They constantly are blacking out days we can trade in open time on our schedule that we're not getting extra compensation for. There are more days that they require a doctor's note that we're not getting paid additional for. But if we call out, we have to see a doctor. As well as technology that the world's best flight attendants deserve. They constantly tell us that we're the best flight attendants in the world. We've won the most awards. However, if you go to look at any of our crew systems, they're dated from pretty much anywhere from 1998 to what looks like 2006 at best.
Wow. Now, all of those benefits that you mentioned sound like great benefits to put in the Delta flight attendant's, first contract. And the IAM has a long history of having members serviced throughout the country. We have such a diverse part of our union across all sectors, all walks of life, whether it's aerospace, airlines, rail, automotive, woodworking, the federal government. We have members from everywhere. We know that the more diverse union that you have more diverse viewpoints. It brings different attitudes to the conversation. It makes us more adaptable. Why do you want a contract with the IAM?
Well, going back to the pension plan, I can definitely say they have a well-rated pension that's fully funded currently, and that's a huge benefit. However, I see value in the diversity of our membership. The IAM has members at Boeing who build our planes, Pratt & Whitney who supply the engines for our planes. They have members all around the world who help and support us in all of our goals. They have all gone through the process of signing their authorization cards. They have gone through the process of their vote, and they can help us with our campaign and our contract writing, which we can learn from all of that.
And don't forget to self-verify, right?
Definitely not. It's really simple. You just take this piece of the card off, tear it, and send in an email with your sequence number, and that helps us attach each individual card signer to a sequence number. And when I send in that email, I actually send in a picture of my photo ID so they know it's me that signed it.
And for more information, just go to the website that you see right here on the screen, iamdelta.net/acard. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.